So welcome everyone. Welcome to Friday Study Circle, where we currently are reflecting upon words of Mother and Sri Aurobindo. So anything that you have read, anything that you have come across, and it was just beautiful, or you want to maybe collectively reflect upon it, something is not clear, that is also possible to share. So one by one, we can just share our readings and then we can take pauses in between to reflect upon whatever has been shared. Yeah. So whoever wants to go first, please go ahead.
I, I today took up that same topic, discernment, no? Yeah, same thing. I read it from the book by Sri Aurobindo, the mother book, no? Small mother book. For that, mother gave explanation, actually. It is in volume 4 of Collected Works of Mother. It is there. It is the answer given by the mother for that mother book, small mother book. Yeah, that it is regarding chapter 5, actually, that mother book. So one disciple asked, actually, before undertaking any action, one tries to know whether the impulse comes from the mother or not. But generally, one doesn't have enough discernment to know it, and yet one acts. Can one know from the result of the action whether it came from the mother or not? She is asking the mother herself, actually. Mother's answer: one does not have the discernment because one does not care to have it. Listen, I don't think there is a single instance in which one does not find within oneself something very clear, but you must sincerely want to know. We always come back to the same thing. You must sincerely want it. The first condition is not to being thinking about the subject and building all sorts of ideas, opposing ideas, possibilities, and entering into a formidable mental activity. First of all, you must put the problem as though you are putting it to someone else. Then keep silent, remain like that, immobile. And then after a little while, you will see that at least 3 different things may happen, sometimes more. Take the case of an intellectual, one who acts in accordance with the indications of his head. He has put the problem and he waits. Well, if he is indeed attentive, he will notice that there is the chronological order is not absolute. It is inside the thing. It may come in a different order. At first, what is prominent, most prominent in an intellectual, a certain idea. If I do that in this way, it will be all right. It must be like that. That is to say, a mental construction. A second thing, which is a kind of impulse that will have to be done. That is good. It must be done. Then a third, which does not make any noise at all, does not try to impose itself on the others, but has the tranquility of a certitude, not very active, not giving a shock, not pushing to action, but something that knows and is very quiet, very still. Shall I go further or we will stop with this and discuss, actually?
Yeah, I think let's first of all let's share a bit on this and then we can go ahead. Yeah, because it is already. I hope you can all see it on the screen also.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is there. Yeah, nice.
This
Yeah.
one thing is very beautiful because even in the case of peace, when, for example, I'm going through a great conflict in the mental space or emotional space, and what I am desiring is a resolution so that I can have peace. Yeah. And mother says the same thing for peace also, that first of all, you must know that you want it. Because many a times we say that let thy will be done, but mine also. So yes, peace must arrive, but through my own ways, you know, that that person should ask for forgiveness or whatever, you know, in the external situation, and that is how I want to reach at peace. But that is not how the divine plan works. So first of all, I should be really sure that all I want is just peace, not that that person or that situation should go according to my own way. That is not what I want. Then we can have peace. So I think this was very beautiful when, with respect to discernment also, mother shares that first of all, one does not, you know, care to have it. I don't even want to have the viveka, because all I want is to go by the impulses, you know.
Correct.
Yeah, so this was very beautiful. Anyone else, please share, go ahead and share.
The beauty of it, no, after you, I mean, we discussed about this in Savitri reading. It is really actually make sense for me, actually. Yeah, when I read again and again, it's very beautiful, very beautiful. Because of the discussion that day in Savitri session. Yeah, yeah, let all of them share. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yeah, beautiful.
These three queries do come each time. There is first is whether you are whether come on, I'll do it. Then second is should I not, is it the right thing? And third, that what I call a squeak, that little squeak says something, you know, that that is opposing what the drive you want to go towards. Very often it opposes what the vital wants, and you say, yeah, chup rahe, and you go the other way. But then if you just, I have found that if we just stay silent in those few moments, uh, it slowly goes, the hush becomes a whisper, and it says, chal, try marlo. And if you follow it, it works.
Yeah, I think this is such a beauty that, you know, usually doubt is considered to be very negative. You know, usually we say, why are you doubting, just go ahead, you know, like that. But I feel that there is a lot of positive side to doubt. For example, otherwise we are a slave to our impulses and vital movements, you know, कि एक mental rigidity set है तो बस वही करना है, सोचना भी नहीं है कुछ, you know, उसको pause भी नहीं देना. But when I have doubt, you know, it means that I want to expand from my that mental limit, you know. So I am like taking a little baby steps, you know, wanting to explore a little. I'm not very sure, so there is a doubt. I think whenever doubt, I face a little doubt, a little uncertainty, it can also be a very positive aspect coming from this widening of horizons, you know. For example, I'm wanting to step into the swimming pool for the first time, I want to give it a try. I will be having fear and doubt, you know, and it will be just telling me that now you're going to expand your horizons. Hence, the doubt is there. So, as you were sharing, you know, this doubt, just, you know, कि करूं कि नहीं करूं, you know, किसकी बात सुनूं. If this is there, I think it's a blessing in our life that we can face this possibility of having doubt in our actions or speech. Otherwise, the impulses are so strong that we are certain that my way is the best way. So this is beautiful, you know. I think there is a lot of beauty there about doubt. Yeah. You are muted, Jyotsna ji. आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही है.
Actually, it's not doubt. It is a kashmakash. It is a hesitation of plus minus, which goes very rapidly. It's not a doubt. A doubt is actually a negative emotion. It's not a doubt. Shak nahi hai. You don't have a doubt. It is, should I not? You know, it's a hesitation in the mind. It's two paths and you have to decide. So it's more of an indecisiveness.
Yeah, one can call it that. Yeah.
Means you don't doubt it. You know that you want to do something, but what thing is where you hesitate.
So let's go ahead. Chitraji, where did you reach? Could you please share a little further here from this passage? I think you had read till then a third, which does not make any noise at all, does not try to impose itself on others, but has the tranquility of a certitude, not very active, not giving a shock,
Yes.
not pushing to action. I think this was, we had
It stopped at still,
yeah,
very still.
very quiet and very still. Yeah. Chitraji, please unmute yourself. Yeah.
This will not contradict the others, will not come and say, no, that is wrong. It says simply, see, it is like this, that's all. And then it does not insist. The majority of men are not silent enough or attentive enough to be aware of it, for it makes no noise. In this place, I have a doubt. We have to wait patiently, no, for the answer to come.
I think Chitraji, this is ना मुझे लगता है ये एक catch 22 situation है. You know, for example, I am restless. Okay, I want a resolution in my life and I want to do it the right way. But my restlessness is obviously restlessness. It's not a calm space. But the catch is that the whisper or that thing that wants me to take in the right direction, that can only be heard in a calm space. So, as if I have to put the nipple in the baby's mouth first so that I can actually, you know, realize what is to be done. It's not that once the restlessness will finish, then I will get what I really want to do or the way where I want to go. First, the peace has to come, and only then the right action will come. So I think I usually see it as a catch-22 situation because we mostly live in a like the ordinary business that we live in. It's a restless state, you know. Many things are going on in the emotional space, you know, mental space. And if I decide, okay,
it will automatically go on. It won't stop, as you said. But disregarding that,
yeah,
we have to keep patiently and wait for an answer from mother. I feel so.
I think how would I come to peace? So how would I choose peace over the mental activity? Now this is the catch. मुझे लगता है कि जब तक मैंने अपनी लाइफ में इतने धक्के नहीं खाए हैं कि मुझे पता है कि जो मेंटल एक्टिविटी के पीछे मैं कितना भागी हूँ, it has never led me anywhere. Now this time I actually want to give peace a chance. So I would not take any action through that mental, you know, vigor or vital rush. I think and maybe that's why emotional or mental experiences in our life, you know, all the slaps and blows, they are so important because then they make me convicted. You know, I'm convinced that this is the way to go because that way I have already seen. I've seen it many times. I don't want to, you know, fall on my nose again and again almost.
But I assure you, it is there in everybody. If one is truly sincere and succeeds in being truly quiet, one will become aware of it. The thinking part begins to argue, but after all, this thing will have this consequence, and that thing will have that consequence. And if one does this and that, and its noise begins again. Mother is exactly explaining our state of mind. The other vital will say, yes, it must be done like that. It must be done. You don't understand. It must. It is indispensable. Then you will know. And according to your nature, you will choose either the vital impulse or the mental leading. But very seldom do you say quite calmly, good, it is this I am going to do, whatever happens. And even if you don't like it very much. But it is always there. I am sure that it is there even in the murderer. I think one of the session you told about this actually. Before he kills, you understand, but his outer being makes such a lot of noise that it never even occurs to him to listen. But it is always there, always there. In every circumstance, there is in the depth of every being, just this little, one can't call it voice, for it makes no sound. This little indication of the divine grace. And sometimes to obey it requires a tremendous effort. For all the rest of the being opposes it violently, one part with the conviction that what it thinks is true, another with all the power, the strength of its desire. But don't tell me that one can't know, for that is not true. One can know, but one does not always know what is necessary, and sometimes, if one knows what is to be done well, one finds some excuse or other for not doing it. One tells oneself, oh, I am not so sure after all of this inner indication. It does not assert itself with sufficient force for me to trust it. But if you were quite indifferent, that is, if you had no desire, either mental or vital or physical desire, you would know with certainty that it is that which must be done and nothing else. What comes and gets in the way is preferences and desires. Every day one may have hundreds and hundreds of examples.
Yeah,
When
Chitra,
people, yeah,
yeah, let's reflect on.
yeah, let us stop. Yeah,
So Madhavi has messaged.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. So Madhavi, are you still there, Madhavi?
Yeah, hi Monica, I'm still
Hi.
here.
So
Hi.
what we do here is we just take a few readings or words of Sri Aurobindo and Mother, which are very much related to our day-to-day life, and then we reflect over it. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
This is the screen share that you are seeing, which Chitraji was reading. It is from works of Mother only, Mother from Pondicherry, and we were just trying to reflect upon it in context of day-to-day life. So just be around and see how does it connect with you. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
So Chitraji, there is so much here, this is very
Yeah.
dense packed. Let us take it one by one.
Yeah. We will stop with this and discuss that. Yeah.
So what is it with desire?
Yeah.
What is it with desire? Because we all have desires, and a desire promises to give me fulfillment.
Yeah.
Yeah, whenever I follow a desire, it promises me contentment and happiness, and that is why I follow it. Okay, so for example, I may have a desire to marry, for example. Why would I go forward and follow that desire? Because somewhere in my mind there is an image that is created that if I follow, then I will get some satisfaction, some happiness, some contentment. Yeah, if that promise of satisfaction is not there, I will actually not follow that desire. Yeah, whenever I am going to have an ice cream, why do I go by the desire? Because from the past I have this image that whenever I had an ice cream, I had a good time, so let's have a good time again. So I am following something of the past, yeah, or some image in my head, and that is why we are compelled to follow a desire. Now that would also tell me my usual state of being, which would be very unhappy and incomplete. Because if I was not incomplete, why would I follow a desire? Because what is the desire promising me? Contentment and happiness. If I already have contentment and happiness, would I still follow a desire? These little desires through which we hanker about, in life. So that is a question for us to, I think, we can take it to reflect that why is our normal state of being so incomplete, sad, and miserable? That every desire comes, and I am just, blindly follow its dictates. Otherwise, if I am in my day-to-day life, if I am able to be content in my discontentment, not wanting to complete it, giving myself something to pursue, something really beautiful, I have given myself some works to do, I am discontent, there is a void that I feel, there is an incompletion, sense of lack that I feel, but somehow I have made friends with it. I have made friends with that sense of lack. Yeah, so I am not looking forward to complete it. Now no desire can take me for granted. And obviously, I think we get to know this only after we have followed 10,000 desires, and we have seen the drama of desires, that for 2 minutes it gives me pleasure, maybe 1 year maximum, and then the whole story is dark again. So I think it's really beautiful if we can use this learning to see that I can be fine with the incompletion. I'm okay with the incompletion. I do not want to fulfill it. And then no one can take me for granted. No?
Yeah, there are many parts in us, no, Monica, actually. Yeah, so there may be a lot of, things we won't, allow the desires, but maybe a small part is there. That time it will dominate without even our, without even knowing it intentionally, something will dominate and make us to fulfill that desire. Then only after some time, this inner voice, no, I heard the experience like that actually. After all the incidents got over, only that silent indication will come out very slowly. Then I used to question why it did prevent me that time itself. It happened after all those things ended, actually. So that is, then I found out, so there are many parts in us.
Beautiful. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yesterday I was talking to a person who lives in our apartments. He is not a professional astrologer, but he has a very sharp intellect, and like he knows the depths of astrology very well. So we were just talking, and it was just very, very obvious that we are nothing but puppets of the planets that we are born in. Nothing but that. Nothing. No, if you are born saintly, you will live a saintly life. If you are born a terrorist, you will live a terrorist life. So there is, as if no one is to be blamed. We are just a puppet of our planets. Now, so we were having this discussion for about 1-2 hours, and first of all, it grounds us deeply that we are nothing but puppets. So what is the best that you can do? You can bow down your head, that just give me enough viveka so that I can, choose a right path. I know that the burdens will be there, darkness will be there, I cannot help it. Just allow me, keep me in your grace. This is the prayer that rises then. Yeah. And then when I went to sleep, I was actually really struggling with this, that really we can't do anything, really. And then I went to this, I slept with the mother with this question. Now in the middle of the night, I'm getting up. I usually get up here and there throughout the night, and dots, kind of as if I got an answer. So the problem that we were discussing was that there were two persons who are fated to be together. Their kundalis are saying they are fated together. Yeah. Now they're also very much bonded together. There is a lot of bond that they share, but there is also very visible. It's visible that they also create a lot of conflict, because the planets are such that they will keep on creating conflict. Now, owing to the fact that they are fated together and they are having conflicts, and he was saying that if this goes on like this, even in the next birth they will be fated together. So you cannot help it. And I went to sleep with this query. So I was getting to reach the resolution, and it was almost given to me. It was given to me that, okay, I see that the attachment is there. I cannot do anything about the attachment. All I can use this darkness, challenge, or attachment about this two people, I am one of them, okay, is to turn completely within, give myself completely to the divine. Apart from that, there is no resolution, and this bond or this clash will continue even in the next birth. If I have any little expectation left from this attachment to be resolved, again it will go on and bother me in the next birth also. So the best we can do, which I'm not sure whether it is also written in the Kundlis or not, is to turn absolutely to the divine and seek nothing else, no person, for support or assistance or help. I think that is where I kind of found resolutions, that this is how I can use the challenge, for going within and absolutely giving yourself to the inner presence. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it is a lifelong process. Again,
Lifelong process.
again,
Yeah.
again, and again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you never know what comes from the past again.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, you have to, but there is an assurance, no? I used to tell that the fate can be changed by an unchanged will. That is the mantra for us. We can tell, as you said, the results we can't say actually, but anyhow, with a lot of faith and surrender, we can again and again repeat. There are some, I mean, positive effects for that. That also I have gone through.
Totally, totally. I think in whatever phase we are going through,
Yeah.
if we
Mm.
go deeply and surrender to the inner
Yeah.
presence,
Yeah.
magical effects will be seen. Very true. Because
Yeah.
then we will not be, in that instance at least,
Yeah.
slave to the impulses and tendencies, which is my nature. Yeah. So it's almost like, you're right, when you say, I think it's a line from Savitri, right? Unchanged.
Yeah. Yeah. Fate can be changed. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is my first turn to mother. That is that line.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Somebody can share.
Yeah. I think the other thing, in absence of anything else, the other thing that we were sharing amongst that discussion was that we usually do not spend enough time to microscopically scan our movements. Because as if life becomes a mad rush from one milestone to the other milestone. पहले शादी कर लो, फिर बच्चे कर लो, या पढ़ाई कर लो, फिर whatever, go for a partnership. So as if we don't pause in between these milestones, day to day. Almost it has to be a day to day practice, that I followed this desire in the morning, and what did it give me? For example, just more desire, just more desire. So it made me even more restless. And I think, instead of just following this blind rush of subjective education, where we are reading all the subjects one after the other, we should actually be using our own persona, our own being as the subject, and turning a microscope within. I think that is what used to happen at gurukuls, for example, earlier. That first you master your own being, or at least begin that journey, and then you conquer the word later. Not first starting to conquer the word blindly, and not knowing any knowledge about your own being. Yeah.
Ma'am, what was that line? Fate can be changed by. I did.
Unchanging will.
Okay.
So that is a reference to the divine will, which can interfere even in the astrological or birth charts. But usually we are not even aware that we can take refuge there. That is why we keep on missing it. It's not very loud and pompous, and it's not on the billboards that go to the divine will. So we keep on missing it. What is on the billboards is, go and have that degree, Harvard, Cornell. So we go there and bang our head on the wall. Yeah. So anyone who wants to share anything, Preeti, would you like to share anything that you have been reading? Any reflections?
Sorry, I'll be a little more active from next time. I didn't want to miss this one. I have my jab today. So, and I was in the middle of cooking and all, but I wanted to be there. So, next time.
All right.
Thanks.
I was reading, I have only got 2 or 3 books over here. I don't have much. The same one, Conversations on Yoga by Mother. And She reads a question asked during her talk in 1929.
Mm.
16th June 1929. Can all physical ailments be traced to some disorder in the mind? It provoked me, so I continued reading it and I thought I'll say it. If there is one mental disorder which can bring about all illnesses, it is fear. But each man can make his own experiment. If one has a bad throat, this may be due to the fact that the day before one was in a state of depression. Or perhaps one is very unhappy, dissatisfied, one finds everything very bad, and the next day one gets a cold in the head. Everyone must make his own observations. Each spot of the body is symbolical of an inner movement. There is there a world of subtle correspondences. The particular place in the body affected by an illness is an index to the nature of the inner disharmony that has taken place. It points to its origin. It is a sign of the cause of the ailment. It reveals too the nature of the resistance that prevents the whole being from advancing at the same high speed. It indicates the treatment and the cure. If one could perfectly understand where the mistake is, find out what has been unreceptive, open that part and put the force and the light there, it would be possible to re-establish in a moment the harmony that has been disturbed, and the illness would immediately go. So the next thing that was question that was put across was, will you explain how each part of the body is symbolical of an inner movement? Means, she explains it. In the ancient schools of initiation, there was the practice of saying simply, this is true or this is false, to those who already had the knowledge of these things. Can anyone relate this experience on this subject? Naturally, you must be able to give the correlation between a certain psychological state and a particular part of the body. This intrigued me, maybe because of my profession also, but otherwise also, why does illness suddenly come? And you also, since you've delved into it very often, I thought, it was a nice read. You take it up for comments.
ज्योत्सना जी, इसका ये डेट बताना मेरे को एक बार वापस.
16th June 1929.
Okay, yeah, got it. So those of us who want to explore, this is a website where all the works of Sri Aurobindo and Mother are there. It's very easy to use. It's called Incarnate Word. And whatever word you are looking for, like depression or, whatever Mother has said about vital, so you put in the exact word and then you get a lot of results. You can go through them. So vital, for those of us, for example, Snehi is new, Madhavi is new. Vital means all the impulses, emotions, desires, all this, emotional rush, wanting to achieve something. That rush, that life force is the vital. Yeah, that is why Mother uses vital here. In the earlier, with Chitra ji was sharing also, that was vital. So let's go through this physical ailments. Actually, pata ye jo, for example, what Mother is asking us, Mother thinks that, we are so courageous. She thinks really very high of us children, yeah. And I think there must be some capacity. That's why she thinks like that. Usually we are just wanting to run away from an illness. if one has a little bit of objectivity, like a scientist, okay, I have gotten this illness, now let me look at it. We usually don't, we are never there, we are rarely there. If blessing is there, then we may be there. We are mostly wanting to we first take a victim stance. Oh my God, why on earth me? Why on earth me? When it was happening to the rest of the society, no, then it was okay. But now it is happening to me, so I will question, why on earth me? What wrong did I do in this life that I've gotten this illness? So I think this attitude, uh, like a scientist, to explore, is such an objective attitude, that it's happening to my body, so-called my body, and yet I'm having the courage to look at it objectively. That requires a lot of strength already. Yeah. So I think then it was just the next question. I think.
Yeah, it's a very interesting one. It's rather long, but it's a good trigger to us
Yeah.
that we pause when an illness comes. I have experimented it on myself, and 8, I would say 8 out of 10, I have been able to abort the illness. You see your sore throat coming, gala pakad raha, nahi pakad raha, ma, take it away. You become aware at that time that, no, I surrender it to you. There's something that I have not followed properly or thought properly, or I got angry at that moment, or I was upset or emotionally drained or tired, something. And at that moment, that third person awareness comes, you stop yourself and surrender. Illness stops.
Beautiful. Yes.
Next morning, you try your gala, it's clear.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we can just experiment in small things on ourselves.
Bilkul.
It does work. Who can tell better than you?
No, Bilkul, you are telling better than me already. You've gone through so many, one illness after another illness. So
No, I'm truly blessed.
yeah.
And I have been made very aware in life.
Yeah.
But it works.
Yeah.
And you get a kind of an energy, and there's a kind of an awareness which comes. People don't reveal all this, but I always felt that if you tell someone, maybe they'll also experiment with it,
Definitely. Yeah.
and they'll probably do it. That it was something negative, I would say, in a mental state, whether it is fear, or it is anger, or it is depression, or it is jealousy. A negative emotion comes into you and it invites an illness, or the thought of an illness invites the illness in. There's a crack in your surface. Snehi, am I clear? Can you understand it?
Yes.
Monica, you explain.
Yeah. I will also. Chitraji, you wanted to share?
No, regarding that illness, no, actually, I had an experience like that. When I ended up with the fibroid in the uterus, my uterus was removed. There was a little bit complicated surgery, but it was removed. After some time, it was found out there is cyst in the ovary. Actually, ovary is not removed that time. They said it will give some benefit to your body, a hormonal benefit. So one of the doctor, not that doctor who removed my uterus, I went to my nearby hospital. She's a very young doctor. She asked me, why at this age, at the age of 56, you just want to retain your ovaries? Now the cyst should not be there. It will become cancerous then, because already your uterus is removed. So she told all sorts of things actually. So then I came and surrendered. First, I got confusion. I cried. What happened? So she's telling the big word cancer. No, yeah. And then I just I applied this actually. I sat quietly and I went to my doctor. She's far away. Anyhow, I made it a point. I have to go to her and consult her. She said, no, it is for you, not that menopause thing, not yet started, but your uterus is removed. So there may be some cyst in the ovaries. While I'm operating, I don't see any abnormality in your ovaries. So don't worry about it. She advised me, don't go for any scan anymore. So I stopped. I stopped and surrendered to mother. No problem after that, actually. So this is the thing. We can't say no. As the Josna ji actually she shared no. We have to wait and surrender and wait for that answer. I think so for all the illness. Yeah, it is true.
It's very interesting what a delicate thing has been given to us, this body. Always some issue or the other, goes on and on and on. But I think on the other hand, it's also very grounding. All the issues with the body are very grounding because you see your incapacity even when you are yourself. Jyotsna ji would concur that even when you are yourself a doctor, you may go to a world class doctor, spend all the money, and even then there is no guarantee that you're going to be saved or the operation will be successful, not successful. There is no guarantee at all. So what comes first, then, money or life? I think usually how we live, we give more importance to money and all the necessities of life, but then we see that no, even one day spent a good, good decent day is okay, is enough. Yeah.
All of us doctors go down on our knee before and after every surgery.
Mm,
Believe me,
mm.
every time we do a life-threatening surgery,
Yeah,
we know nothing is in our hands.
yeah, yeah,
Everything may be perfect.
yeah,
Everything is perfect when you start.
yeah, yeah.
Okay? Nothing can go wrong, cent percent. And in a split second, if they decide, you show me a doctor who doesn't believe in the
Yeah,
ultimate.
true.
There is,
So the discussion from yesterday with that astrologer I was sharing, he was sharing that even now in because this science is so beneficial, the science of astrology, there are a few hospitals which are actually collaborating with the timings so that they save on their effort. For example, if greh kharab chal rahe hain, if they know that surgery is not to be performed in that time, they can wait for half an hour and then start a surgery where the chances of getting a better surgery, or maybe the surgery is not required once that planetary phase is over. So there are a couple of institutions which are kind of collaborating with the astral science also, which I think makes sense, because why to waste so much of effort going against somebody's nature or destiny and all that. We spend so much of money there, and also effort. It's so much draining. It's very draining.
we still do cesareans by Muhurat.
Oh,
We
that's good.
still, we still,
Yeah.
in all parts of the world, it's not just in our country,
Oh, interesting.
everywhere. This is not a good time, they'll tell you. Please wait till this time gets over and then take the baby out. It still exists.
Yeah, yeah. I think this would also connect with this, for example, in
The
Savitri
planet.
also, there is this part about, I think I'm not remembering the exact line, the laws, the iron laws of nature. These, I think they must be reflecting these only, these laws, these rigid laws in front of whom you are actually totally incapable. Nothing can happen. अगर वो उस समय ग्रह खराब था, बच्चा हो गया, तो फिर अब वो भुगतना पड़ेगा. You will have to go through all the misery. What can be done? You can't do anything. And again, that is again very grounding, क्योंकि बार बार यही बताता है कि तुमसे ज्यादा है कोई. तो पहले ही घुटने टेक दो, और फिर शुरुआत करो. ये नहीं कि घुटने टेक दिए, घुटने टेक के फिर शुरुआत करो.
And also the blind faith will help you, Monica. Actually, really, I experienced that blind faith. No, without thinking about anything, I will repeat the words of Savitri like mantra. Actually, so many times it saved me. Yeah, it really happened, even from a major accident, actually. Major accident, I was only got injured. Actually, my daughter was nearby. She told me, Amma, mother and Anichukoma, you think about mother when we were coming from Pondicherry. We were returning from Pondicherry. Immediately I got up from, I fainted. Immediately I got up. It really happened. It's a great miracle. Mother and you think about mother, immediately I got up. She told in Tamil, mother and Anichukoma. Even that thing, I heard her voice, immediately I got up. Actually, so many, yeah, so many times it happened. That day also you discussed about accidents. No, I really forgot to tell that time. Actually, now only, yeah.
You know, whenever I hear about accidents, है ना, जैसे आप अपना अभी बता रहे हो, I remember my own phases, you know, where something was so challenging deeply, and there is something about these challenging moments because there the concentration is so intense, you know, because it's the matter of life and death. You're trying to now save yourself, and the sadness is that usually in day-to-day life we are not that intense in our concentration. You know, we are just scattered.
Correct.
Intense
Yeah.
होते हैं फिर scattered हो जाते हैं, फिर intense होते हैं फिर scatter हो जाते हैं. So I think as mother shares with that aeroplane also, you know, that Sadhak asked
Yeah.
that aeroplane the accident happened and these many people were saved by grace of God, and the others, what about them? Was the grace of God not with them? So the mother is sharing that every day so many aeroplanes are going on without falling. There the grace does not exist. So every day you are getting up, rising up from the bed, you are able to breathe, you are able to move the limbs. That does not count as grace.
Yeah.
This, when the accident is there, you were saved, then you talk about grace.
Correct.
So that's again, yeah.
The underlying one word that keeps coming up, whether you have faith in Kundalini or mother or something, I think that word is faith. The final one is, of course, to have that faith in the divine, and we all are at different stages. So, kabhi hota hai, kabhi nahi hota hai. So, I will just share that a few years back when I got ulcerative colitis, tab tak I had not connected, you know, like 100% with mother the way I have now in the last 2 years. Though I had been working at the Aurobindo Ashram for a while, but there was a soul there who just took my hand and helped me go through that phase. It was just that faith, you know, that somebody is there.
Yes, Preeti. Yeah. You know, ये वही वाली बात हो गई ना. Usually, मतलब it's you are so lucky that you were able to take that hand and receive that help. You know, many a times we even miss that helping hand. है ना, होता है ना, जैसे हमारी अपनी images होती हैं कि इस तरीके से help आनी चाहिए. You know, this is how help should come. I should get healthy. If I have not gotten healthy, then help has not arrived. You know? So we have our own images and conceptions of receiving divine grace. I think this little short story which I shared with most of you, I don't remember if all of you know that. There is this person who is stuck in flood, you know, and he wants to receive help. He's a Hanuman Bhakt and he's waiting for the help, Hanuman to come. So, and helicopter comes, you know, and lowers down the rope. So he does not take the rope. He says that, oh my God, I am not going to take the rope. I am waiting for Hanuman to come. You know, he will come, he will come. Then a jet plane comes. It doesn't go with that, you know. So slowly, all the things go away and he drowns in the flood. So he goes up and, you know, almost with rage, you know, says that I was a devout throughout my life and you did not come. How dare you? You know, what kind of a God are you? And he was a bit confused. Hanumanji was a bit confused. He said, you know, oh, but I sent a jet plane and a helicopter. And so we have our own images, you know, that this is how help should come. Even in the middle of a disease, I'm not really getting better. Maybe some karma or whatever is there. I don't know what connections are there. But I have peace of mind in the middle of disease. Is that not the answer from grace? You know, that I'm able to take that illness with faith and quietude and, you know, certitude. That is enough. Yeah.
There was one thing I wanted to share, a very personal thing, but I decided I would share it as something on the path of surrender. You know, we have a habit of, I don't know everybody, each one has his own way, but we all talk to Mother or to the Lord, and then, our difficulties, our, our kashmakash, what we are going through, how can we be better, or how can we sort it out better, and stuff like that. So I was going through a phase where we had to take certain decisions for my daughter, and she has been struggling for her PhD, and it was not coming, and she's been home for a year, and she really struggled through it. And I used to motivate her to apply and all, and we were waiting for the result. But then I said, if my surrender has to be in the true nature, a human being must surrender as per the will of the divine. So I said, this will be my experiment. So I made every effort, or every request, or each thing I ever spoke with Ma was, you decide what is best for the child. I will not ask. And believe me, for a year, I never asked. I only said, I surrender everything, absolutely, without any want, or like or dislike, or favoritism, or need. Though my need may be very strong, no, I will not do it this way, because I want to go on the path of surrender. I'm making a beginning here. And I surrendered equivocally, nothing in the head. You decide what is good. If she gets it, that's what you decide is good for her. If she doesn't get it, she won't. And 2 days ago, she got it from Germany. And all I said was, thank you. It was means that I thanked Mother for giving me the strength. Ki sawa saal, all I did was, you decide. I surrender, you decide. I felt it was a little step forward, because we all have to learn that when we surrender, we do not grab and ask for more. We give it to their decision, pleasant or unpleasant to us, it doesn't matter. And I said, I would accept happily whatever came my way. So there were many minuses on the way, and I would thank, yes, you decided that it is not good for her. Okay, I accept it gracefully. And it came along. So I thought, many of us, we want results very fast. And then we say, yeah, our prayers are not working. So much I told you, Mother, you're not doing anything. But this time I said, I'll take it by the tail. I will do surrender in the true way. And that experiment seems to, it's not that the result was good, so I'm happy. No. But it's that you could go within to get the strength to be ready to accept everything. And I think that goes a long way in our accepting many things with Mother and Sri Aurobindo put on our plate. I felt.
Beautiful. So, Badalji, would you like to share? Because very soon we'll be ending. You haven't shared anything. You have been patiently listening. Would you unmute and share? Yeah, please unmute.
I was trying to understand actually. I was thinking that this maybe only for the ladies or something. No. This anybody can attend, no?
Yeah, chatterboxes, Badalji.
Because this was like I was reading some books at times, and one of my friend here at Bangalore, he's retired Air Vice Marshal, and he's also connected with Aurobindo for about last 40 years. So with him, I've visited a couple of times, and I was trying to understand, because he presented me the life divine, and he told me that it will take 5 years for him. But because of this COVID-19 and all, I could finish it means reading, not that understanding the fully or something, because it's very big sentences and the thought process and all. But within about 3 months, I read it. And along with this, they quoted by Bhagavad Gita and other things are also been narrated in the first when the chapter starts. So all those also I kept all those books in original so that you could see that why these are required to be read before we start the chapter. So I could understand to a certain extent actually. And there's Vivekananda's literature and Ramakrishna Paramahansa I was reading. So I could see that all like Advaita Bad and this and that, these are going all in the same direction actually. This maybe I don't find any difference. As you read and all the different frame of mind at that particular moment, we get the different type of meaning. Like Bhagavad Gita, I may have read a couple of times, but every time I get something new. Similarly, the Aurobindo's writings or Ma's writing and all, every time I had some story books told by mother. There are 2 volumes once I got it from Pondicherry and also I was reading the stories and all. So actually these are also leading that to the same, that Sharbang Khalidang Brahma means we have to recognize ourselves. So there once he had shown us this Raidi Sahib, whom I was talking about. So this Raidi Sahib, he has shown that everybody is doing some parade sort of thing. So I'm also from the defense. So we had been doing parade and this thing, regular activity in the defense. So I said that why these old ladies and gentlemen and all they are doing parade there. So in the evening, that there is a place where in the ground they would. So they say that every cell of the body is composed of all these organs are there. So the divine presence is there in the whole body. So whenever say I'm praying or doing some yoga or dhyan or some whatever maybe, so my entire body cells, they also must be tuning with the same type of thoughts and the process, and then it becomes easier. Otherwise, I've been pulled apart. So every time because of this society where you're staying and I want this, I want that, and all this. So every time my mind is going everywhere. Like Ramakrishna says that it is something like the mustard seeds you have, and suddenly, accidentally, it has fallen on the road, unclean road. Now it is very difficult to get them back. All the all the grains, whatever was there. Similarly, our mind throughout the day and night, even when you are sleeping, there are some dreams and this and that. It continues actually to concentrate on a particular thing and realize who am I, who am I, and as Vivekananda says, somebody asked what is the definition of education. He says that education is the manifestation of the perfection already in man. So already we have that, but we don't think. Normally, we don't believe that I have got that strength in any field. In any field, I have got that strength. So similarly, the body, all the body parts, the vital organs or otherwise in human body. So every part has got a definite role, and every part is important. Every part is important. It cannot be neglected. Okay, it is leg or this. I have touched it the leg or. So what has happened is that every part of the body has to synchronize when I'm say doing meditation or say yoga or whatever maybe. So this is to be channelized in a particular direction. The rhythm we have to find. The rhythm, if we find that this is the rhythm, I have to in that every time I sort of that sthita pragya they call it, that state of mind should be the same. There are so many things that ups and downs should continue, and it is not in my hand. So if there is something bad happens and something, so I break down totally. And if something good happens, so that should not be. Every point of time, I should be at ease and in my state of mind actually. So I could, the last time also I attended this. And the Savitri, I have attended only one. So again, Savitri is also another very tough subject. Like I was discussing with Ladisa. So he says that which is this group and all this. And I have forwarded this. So this is coming in the paper. So I saw that and I tried to tell him. So I told him if you are interested and all, then probably you can have. He takes 4 classes in a week here in Bangalore, so different levels. I'm not very sure what all he does. He's having one of the member of the Bangalore organization. And when he goes abroad also, he has got this thing Zoom classes and all this he conducts. And I attend one of the Zoom classes of Bhagavad Gita. He does it on Sunday evening. So with him only, I was introduced much to this thing. And I have only, as far as Aurobindo is concerned, I'm also Bengali. And since Aurobindo, I was reading his lifestyle and all. So I was thinking that, my God, say, what are the fields he has gone through, and and particularly that life divine. So I was not in a position to understand at all what all. So then I asked him that you are some 40 years you are there. Just tell me the summary, what he wanted actually in his life. So he told me that he wanted to bring the heaven to all of us. Like if I do some good job or something and all this, so we'll go to heaven. So we'll generally believe. Whereas he is saying that heaven is for everybody. So heaven, please come here and stay over there so that everybody get chance to. So in simple terms, like he explained. So this much only I know about
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah.
You can say that how is this?
Yeah. About Savitri, obviously we also just go through the lines and whatever, in our limited perception we can see, we see. I think we should allow ourselves to see at most whatever we can see. Saying that I don't, मतलब कि ये तो इतना ऊपर की चीज है कि मैं इस पे पहुंच ही नहीं सकता, वो भी एक तरह से बेवकूफी है, because it's the gift from Sri Aurobindo and mother. If whatever capacity we can use it, I think we must make use of it. And the other thing also that mother herself says on Savitri, that most of it is beyond the understanding of mind. Savitri is not off the mind, it is coming beyond the mind. Yet there are lines in Savitri which are in the grasps of mind, which we can understand through our limited usual sense mind. So first of all, to allow ourselves that capacity, that yes, okay, let me understand this much, okay. And the other thing, I think Chitra ji would be able to share more, that when we continue to sleep and to whatever, 4 lines, 5 lines we read during the day Savitri, whenever we are silent, calm, whatever, in a receptive state, you're not wanting anything from them, you are just with the lines, just like a mantra. We are with the mantra, we are not wanting something from the mantra. And then in our sleep or our waking state or somewhere, at a right point in the life, those lines come alive for us. I think this is how Savitri has been, in whatever capacity, has been revealed to whatever, all of us here. For me, I was going through a deep challenge in my life when I almost as if connected with the pain of Savitri losing Satyavan. That took me close to Savitri. Otherwise, it was totally Greek and Latin for me. Even now it is. But yet, and mother also shares that as we grow in our experiences, human experiences, then dots begin to connect in Savitri. Then you can fathom where Sri Aurobindo is trying to hint us at. So as you were already sharing, Badalji, that it's actually heaven that Sri Aurobindo has got us here in form of Savitri, because whenever we go through lines, and in no matter how deep depression I'm starting the class, it just elevates and uplifts each one of us. So you cannot stay in that depression any longer. It just pulls you out of that darkness. That's very true. Yeah.
During the last visit, we have visited the Savitri also. And I think it requires a couple of days actually to stay there. But only one day we were there. Out of the 4 days, one day we visited the Savitri. The amount of work has been done, and the painting, means drawings and writings and all. Oh my God. So if you have to just read which are on the display, that itself will take so much of time and energy and all this and all this. And it was excellent, actually, excellent work.
It's really beautiful, I think in form of these huge and vast texts that they have left us, all the masters have left us, we almost get something to do with our life. Otherwise we have no clue,
Yeah.
okay, there is a profession, there is some, but what to do with so much of time that is there, otherwise it eats us up. So there we can actually go deeper into these texts, either by Vivekanand or Ramakrishna Paramhans, Ramana Maharishi, all that, almost guiding torches of light, beacons of light. Yeah. Yeah. So
Thank you.
thank you for sharing. Any lasting comments, anyone?
Just that एक चीज खराब होती है हम उसमें इतना ड्वेल करने लग जाते हैं जब 100 चीजें ठीक चल रही होती है. So it's all about how to train our minds again consciously, and blessed are ones who have realized that. So also just read this book about Anita Moorjani. आप सबने सुना ही होगा. How it is dying to be me. She said कि मतलब she went into coma and then she realized that how she has to live, and then she came out of it, and now she inspires others. And so that's all about just training this mind again. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Preeti. Yeah, this book was my, I would say, it was my caretaker when I was first diagnosed, in 2014. It just blew me off, and it gave me so much of courage to go through as a spirit, through that experience of illness. It just was a beautiful book, and if people want to read it, it's a very, very enlightening book, Dying to Be Me, where this lady who is in the 4th stage of cancer, she goes through almost a coma, and she's there, she's able to see the body, that I am not the body. So it became very, very clear to her that I am not the body, and hence she decided to come back to the body. And then she was able to heal her, all the sores and all the difficulties healed magically when her essence came back to the body. So yeah, it's a very enlightening book, those of us who are wanting to read. Yeah.
Her live videos are also very easily available.
Yeah, YouTube pe hai, haan.
Yes.
Yeah. I think she gave a lot of TEDx talks also after that, after that experience, and now she's a big star. She tours and travels and has, I think the 3rd book has come out again. 2nd book was What If This Is Heaven? Otherwise we are always craving for some other heaven. So she says, what if this is heaven? You can always make a choice every day of your life. So, and the 3rd book is also there. I think it's
Yeah, it is. I'm reading that right now. Sensitive is the new strong.
exactly.
And it's the power of empath. This is a very nice book.
Beautiful. Yeah. Great. So
Alugda also mentioned about this, actually, about this author, Anita Moorjani.
Anita Moorjani.
Okay. I heard in one of the talks, yes.
Actually, when you're on this path, there is a kind of a, you have a kind of an urgency to drink more and more. You feel, how much can I manage? Can I manage so much? Can I read this? Can I also imbibe this? Can I do this? And you said there's a lot of time in a day, but I feel there's a lot less time in a day, because you want to, and memory goes fat after 55, so you don't remember much. Chitradi, you are great. You to ekdam phadaphat talk Savitri, but I can only be familiar when you
No.
say.
Yeah, it is all Mother's grace. My English, my about my thing, but I don't know how Mother, I can't explain that, how she made me to understand, not understanding through mind, it is actually, yeah, I can't explain also that experience, how Savitri came to me, how Savitri is with me always. I don't know, no words.
And every page we open, it brings about an apt meaning for our life at that time.
Yeah.
Again, it is funny. you know. I don't know. Do you notice the same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It will speak to me always.
So I think we can call it a session here.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
thanks
Exactly.
everyone for joining, and thank you for sharing.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank
Namaste.
you.
Thank you.
You
Thank you.
start the session looking very quiet and calm, and then you say bye-bye glowing.
Good one. Huh? Thank God छुट्टी मिली हाँ.
No, actually